topic, we're going to discuss the male reproductive system. So by the end of this topic, you should be able to label the different structures of the male reproductive system, identify the different structures in the testis, and then state where the sperm are produced and stored. So here you can see the male reproductive system. You should be able to remember this from IGCSE. Let's just run through the different parts quickly. So you've got the testes, and these are two oval-shaped structures which develop in the abdominal cavity, and then they descend into the scrotal sac before birth. And this is where the male gametes are produced. So the testes are held outside the body in these scrotal sacs. This is so that they're kept at about 2 to 3 degrees Celsius below the body temperature, which is optimal for sperm development. They're suspended by a spermatic cord. This is made up of the sperm duct, an artery, vein, and nerve, which are all bound together by connective tissue. Then you've got the epididymis. This is a tightly coiled tube, which is about 6 meters in length, and it's continuous with other structures inside the testes. This is where sperm are stored. The sperm mature and develop the ability to swim as they pass through it. The vas deferens is a thick muscular tube which carries the now fully motile sperm to the urethra via the ejaculatory duct. Then you've got a pair of seminal vesicles, which are pouch-like glands, and these contribute up to 60% of the volume of the semen. They secrete a thick yellowish fluid, which is rich in fructose, and which provides nourishment for the sperm. The prostate gland is a donut-shaped structure lying beneath the urinary bladder. This secretes a thin whitish fluid which makes up about 30% of the semen. This fluid increases sperm motility, and it's also alkaline, which means that it can neutralize any acidity due to urine. You can't see them, but you've also got a pair of glands called the Cowper's glands, and these are pea-shaped and located behind the prostate. They secrete a mucus-like fluid which makes up about 5% of semen, and it also helps to lubricate the urethra. The scrotum is an external sac of skin covering muscle, into which the testes descend before birth. So the muscles, or the muscle called the dartus muscle, is in the wall, and this allows the testes to be pulled towards the body to raise the temperature of the testes, or it helps to lower them to cool them. So that in this way, their temperature is kept at around 35 degrees Celsius. And then here you can see the other labels of the different parts in the same area. So you can see the bladder at the top there, the ureter, the urethra, and then the erectile tissue in the penis. So here's a side view of the male reproductive system. Take a moment to see if you can identify the different parts. Well, you can see the scrotum at the bottom there, the testes, epididymis, prostate gland, seminal vesicle. Notice how close the prostate gland is to the rectum. Then you've got your bladder and the vas deferens, which is that long tube, and the urethra, and then your penis. Okay, let's have a look at the inside of the testis. Now, around each testis is a fibrous coat called the tunica albugina. Inside the testes, there are different sections called lobules. These are separated from one another by septi. These contain seminiferous tubules that are about 50 centimeters long and 200 micrometers in diameter. They are the site of sperm production. The sperm then go into the epididymis for storage. So the pathway of the sperm is they're manufactured in the seminiferous tubule. They then move to the vas efferent and are stored in the epididymis. During ejaculation, they move into the vas deferens. So here you can see a cross-section view of the seminiferous tubule. So notice how the lighter pink areas represent the seminiferous tubules, and then you've got the darker pink areas around them, which represent the interstitial cells surrounding the tubules. So the interstitial cells surround the seminiferous tubules, and these secrete the hormone testosterone. The seminiferous tubule, as I mentioned earlier, is where the sperm are produced. And you've also got cells in between them that are called Sertoli cells, and these help to nourish the sperm. So here's a lovely diagram to show you a cross-section of the seminiferous tubule. We'll look at how the sperm are made in the next topic. So just notice in this diagram here how on the outer edges of the seminiferous tubule you've got something called the germinal epithelial layer. And this is where the sperms start to be formed by a process called spermatogenesis. So they're formed into something called spermatogonia. Then as they move closer to the lumen, which is that empty part in the middle, they increase in size and then they form primary spermatocytes. And after meiosis, they form spermatids, which are going to mature into spermatozoa. So we'll look at that in the next topic. So here's a beautiful photo to show you the cross-section of a seminiferous tubule again. So you can see the spermatozoa near the lumen there in the middle of that diagram. Okay, so in this topic, a few key words that you've come across. So I want you to write these down and go back and see if you can remember the definitions. So we came across the scrotum, testes, epididymis, vas deferens, seminal vesicle, prostate gland, tunica albugina, lobule, seminiferous tubule, vas efferentia, and epididymis again. And that concludes our lesson, the end.